Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Halloween horror movie review. Today we'll be taking a look at another significant spider movie from my childhood, namely 1977's Kingdom of the Spiders. Today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. So, Kingdom of the Spiders. I vaguely recall seeing this one around the same time that I saw the giant spider invasion. So it was 1977 when it came out. I would have been 5 years old. Pretty sure I saw Giant Spider Invasion when I was 5 years old. But all I remember for sure is that I know I saw Kingdom of the Spiders not long after seeing the Giant Spider Invasion. Now, the way I'd always thought of it as a kid was the Giant Spider Invasion was the cool giant spider, giant monster movie, and Kingdom of the Spiders was the serious, scary spider movie. Now, seeing them both again now, after 40 some odd years, they're both kind of cheesy, but in their own special, unique ways. This one, of course, stars William Shatner as the veterinarian of a small town who is investigating some strange goings-on, some mysterious deaths of livestock. And it turns out that it's spiders that are killing them, just a lot of spiders. So a specialist is brought in to help investigate, and they determine that the town is in a migration path for all of these spiders that are on the move looking for food, essentially, because the overuse of pesticides and insecticides have interrupted the food chain, essentially. So the spiders have nothing to eat. So they're migrating to find new food. And, well, this small town is in the way, and the livestock and soon afterwards the people of the town become that food. So, when I saw this movie as a kid, of course, I had no idea who William Shatner was. I thought Star Trek was boring, and I never watched it. My parents watched it sometimes, but I had no interest in it. It wasn't until I was older that I took an interest in it. So, who's William Shatner? He's just the guy in that spider movie. But, of course, watching it now, I see it in a slightly different light. Also, watching it now, one of the things I really appreciated about it was just how sharp and witty the script actually is in this. The movie moves along at a pretty good clip. Like, at no point did I find myself bored. Apparently William Shatner didn't originally want to do the movie, but the director actually went out to his home and met with him and talked with him and convinced him to do it. And thank goodness he did, too, because I have to say, William Shatner's performance in this is one of the things that makes it so entertaining. I mean, you figure this was only about a decade after he did Star Trek. It was before Star Trek came back with the first movie and such. So he was very much at the height of his acting game, you know, and really brings a lot of charm and humor to the story. For example, there's a pretty funny scene at the beginning, which in the hands of other actors may not have played as well, but I think the way he did it, it works really well. And that's when another scientist is brought in to help investigate the spider problem. And he's at a gas station getting his own car fueled up and stuff. And the attendant goes into the station to do something. And this other scientist pulls in. And she mistakes William Shatner for the attendant and is asking him to gas up her car and check her oil and stuff like that. And can she use the washroom? And he's just kind of playing along. Because, I mean, he's a doctor. He's basically a fellow scientist. He's also investigating the spider thing. He doesn't know who she is. He thinks she's just some random tourist coming through at this point. It's just a really funny exchange between the two because we, the audience, are in on it. He's in on it, but she has no clue. And then, of course, later they meet, and she's like, "Oh, it's you." And he just kind of gives her a smile, and, you know, they carry on. So it's kind of an awkward beginning to their relationship, but it's good. It's fun. Speaking of casting, Tiffany Bolling, who plays the other scientist, one of the reasons she was cast was she was one of the few actresses who was not afraid of spiders. In fact, you'll see some scenes where she's directly interacting with spiders and just has one, crawling on her, and she's not flinching at all. She's just like, oh, hi, how's it going? And she takes it outside and shoos it away and, doesn't even bat an eyelash. But, I mean, it turned out to be a lucky break for her. She got to be in this fairly high-profile horror movie with William Shatner. I mean, how good's that going to be for your career, That's one of the interesting things about this movie. It's mostly real spiders. There's a few fake spiders in the scenes where they are, like, overrunning the town and stuff, but the vast majority of them are real spiders. They actually got about 5,000 tarantulas for this movie, like actual live tarantulas for this movie. And I gotta say, this must be a little bit before the no animals were harmed in the making of this movie thing started, because without question, you see so many real, actual, living spiders get annihilated or stepped on or just brutalized. Not intentionally. I mean, obviously, the ones that they're interacting with, they're quite careful to, like brush them off in such a way that it's not going to harm them and things like that. But there are cases where you do visibly see spiders get stepped on and so forth. And that's something that just wouldn't fly today. I mean, if they were to do a movie like this today, you'd have a few real spiders for close-ups probably, and then the rest would likely be all CG or something. And that's one of the things that makes these 70s swarms of bugs movies interesting to me, is that this was before the days of CG and whatnot. And now, if you're doing giant bugs, then obviously you're going to use like a model or miniature or some kind of trick photography. But for something like this, where it's basically just lots and lots of the actual bugs or spiders or ants or bees or what have you, they would just use the actual animals and then maybe some additional opticals to make it appear that there were more of them. But there was a bunch of these movies in the 70s. I remember also as a kid seeing one, Kingdom of the Ants, which was about ants overrunning everything. There was a couple about bees, like killer bees. There was one just called The Bees, and there was another one called The Swarm. And I, similarly to how I see this as the cheesy one, this as the scary one, as a kid, I seem to recall The Bees was the cheesy one and The Swarm was the scary one. I've been told that maybe as an adult I might see that the other way around now, but I don't know. I still have to pick those ones up. But of course, the big thing about it is the fact that they used actual spiders makes this a lot scarier, I think. Even though there are some moments you do kind of have to suspend disbelief. Like, for example, it's pretty well known that tarantulas are actually quite shy around people, and a lot of the times when they're attacking people, if you look closely, you'll notice the tarantulas are just kind of walking around. They're not really attacking anything. They're just kind of there in the scene. And apparently sometimes they would use like little air guns to kind of blow at the spiders to try to get them to move in a particular direction and stuff like that. And if you watch closely, you can see a few instances of that that are actually in the movie, where it's pretty obvious that the spiders are either just milling about randomly or that they're being deliberately directed in a close-up or something like that. So overall, I had a lot of fun revisiting this one again. I actually did a double bill of this with the Giant Spider Invasion when the Blu-rays came in. I ordered them both at the same time. I just couldn't wait. I had to be 5 years old again, seeing the scary spider movies, and had an absolute blast. Like, I enjoy them now in a whole different way from how I enjoyed them then, but at the same time, I feel those little pangs of excitement remembering, just bits of when I saw them as a kid. Honestly, in terms of my child memories, I remembered more of the Giant Spider Invasion than I did of this one. But as I was watching this, and there were certain shots, certain scenes that did kind of trigger memories, like, oh yeah, that looks familiar. Like, I had actually completely forgotten that William Shatner was even in it. That's how long it's been since I saw it. And as I said, at the time, I wouldn't have known who the heck he was anyway. But I really enjoyed this one a lot, and it's definitely one that I will revisit from time to time. Now, this Blu-ray edition is quite nice. It's from Code Red, which is a nice boutique indie label that specializes specializes in a lot of obscure films like this. The transfer on this is absolutely freaking gorgeous. It is beautiful. It looks absolutely amazing, especially in contrast to Giant Spider Invasion, which was filmed on pretty low grade film stock and isn't as sharp. This one is very crisp and sharp, and Code Red did a great job on this. Doesn't have a ton of extras. It is a new transfer from 2016. It's a 2K HD scan from the original Interpositive, so very low generation print was used for this. It does have audio commentary with Tiffany Bolling and producer Ego Cantor, and an on-camera interview with Tiffany Bolling as well. And it also has the original theatrical trailer. So, not much in the way of extras, although Tiffany Bolling does have a lot of interesting little behind-the-scenes tidbits to share as well. So it's quite interesting to listen to her stories and anecdotes about making the movie and whatnot. So, yeah, Kingdom of the Spiders, great stuff. If you'd like to add it to your collection, I will, of course, include an Amazon link in the description for you. Thank you very much for your support. Well, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks very much for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors. Be sure to catch me live on Twitch. I stream just about every day, and I'll see you next time. Until then, sayonara.